Great. This does show that we're live on our YouTube and our Facebook platform. So give me just 1 second while I double check that I can see us okay and that people are getting alerted out. Great. I'm starting to see the notification pop up on my side. I'll go ahead and get our broadcast kicked off and started. So as folks begin to tune in with us, whether it's now, if it is in the afternoon, evening, long after we are no longer live, they can still rewind and rewatch. And something great they can do is give us a hashtag replay in the comment section, which allows us to see that they actually watched it. But more importantly, if they had any comments or questions, we can quickly pull those out and get them over to you. So good morning, afternoon, evening, or weekend, whenever it is that you are choosing to watch our broadcast. We want to thank you for taking the time to get updated on things that are going on in and around our community and get to meet some of the faces behind our newer partners within our organization. So I want to introduce you to a couple of things on our social platforms, and that's the video section here on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, where we're streaming both of these. Allows you to see any previous videos that we have. You can rewind, you can rewatch, you can still comment and engage on those. The share button allows you to hit the share button here primarily on Facebook so that others in your network see that we're live and can also join in into the conversation or maybe learn a thing or two from some of our chatting this morning. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, a great way that you can stay alerted when we post content in the future is by not only liking those pages, but making sure that you're subscribed to them. If you subscribe on YouTube, it lets you know once a video has been released. So after it's been released, it allows you to go back and rewatch it. And then if you are following or get notifications set up on your Facebook page, then as soon as we go live, you get alerted when we go live and can kind of stop what you're doing and come over and join us. The other ways that you can, of course, engage with us on this video is by reacting to it with any of those emojis that we have. Even the angry faces we're okay with. It still allows us to see who's engaged with us and gives us a chance to give you a shout out for coming onto our broadcast and being a part of the discussion. The comment section, whether you are on Facebook or YouTube, will come up on our end. We'll be able to see any comments that come through, any questions that you might have, and be able to answer those for you. One thing I do always like to emphasize is if you do comment or provide a question and it's been a minute or so, we're not ignoring you. You're in the queue. We'll get right over to you when there is that adequate break for us to take. With that, I want to go ahead and share in my excitement to have Rumble Boxing with us. And Sibu, I'm very glad that you're on here with me.
Hi, nice to meet you, Julia. Thank you so much for having us on this broadcast.
Of course. Well, we're so excited that you've chosen Westminster as your home for your business. And I am very intrigued by you and want to learn more about who you are and your background and all of that great stuff. So we're going to jump right into it, if that's okay. You can share as much or as little as you like, but know that I will not tire from asking you questions during our time together. Okay. So,
Fire away.
Your name is super unique. We started off getting to know one another a couple minutes before this broadcast went live, and I asked you where that originated from. I'm sure some people are starting to hear somewhat of an accent with you. It's pretty light, actually, until you start like flowing through. But can you tell us where you're from?
Yeah. So my name is Siba, and I'm originally from the Netherlands. So think about Amsterdam. And I moved officially to the United States in 2013. My wife is from the US. So that was really the reason why we made the transfer over. And we moved to Colorado with Vanessa and our daughter Pepper in 2020, right in the middle of COVID, actually.
Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
why Colorado?
Well, Vanessa is from Pittsburgh, so she's a true East Coast girl. And
Mhm.
we met each other in Australia, and the reason why I mentioned that is we are real travelers by heart, and we love the nature. We love to travel mountains. We love to travel ocean. Really be connected to nature as much as we can. So once we made the decision to come to the U.S., we decided to go to Pittsburgh. We got a little stuck there. We also got our one and only child. Her name is Pepper, and instead of like being only there for like a couple months to make it as a transition period, we ended up being there for nearly 6 years. So
Wow.
COVID hit, and that was for us the opportunity to say, okay, wow, everything is shutting down. This is an
Wow.
opportunity for us. What do we want to do? And it turned out to be Colorado.
Yeah. Well, we are so glad to have you here. And it makes sense if you are more of that outdoor, the nature and the experiences and exploring outside. That makes sense why you'd pick us. But, it's not uncommon to get in a place in life where you just kind of get comfortable or more than anything, I just feel like the days pass you without you even realizing it. And so, did you immediately start up a business when you came here, or did you kind of find your way into Rumble Boxing over the last, year or two?
Well, so to go back a little bit more in time, like I ended up in fitness in Pittsburgh, really in the boxing world there. I had a mentor there who had a fitness concept in boxing as well, and that's kind of where it really all started for me, as far as in like getting connected to Rumble. That was the same year when Rumble was found in 2017 in New York City, and moving forward to 2020, when we got here, our initial setup was going to be, let's purchase a home and let's see if we can establish a life here. Now, not knowing that 2020, the COVID scene really stirred up the housing market here pretty remarkably up high. So we were like, doesn't seem to be really feeling that right. And right at that time, Rumble became available to franchise. So we had an opportunity there, and we jumped on it. And here we are. Studio One is open, and there's two more studios coming.
Awesome. Oh, wow. So two more studios coming. Are they both here in Westminster? Or are you looking at other parts of the metro area?
Yeah, so we had the opportunity to buy a territory, what they call that, and I am northwest territories of Denver City, just up until Boulder City. So we bought three locations, or three locations to develop. The first one is Westminster. The other one will potentially go into Arvada, and the third
Mhm.
one we're not quite sure of.
That's awesome. So tell me a
Mhm.
little bit more about the brand of Rumble Boxing. So you said it started in 2017 out in New York. So it's obviously a franchise concept that's allowing you to have these territories and be able to own and hopefully operate them on your own. But for those people that don't know about the brand or never heard of it before, what is it all about?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Rumble was found in New York City, in Chelsea, in Manhattan, by a guy named Andy Stern and a few of his partners. They created this workout in a basement somewhere, where they put workout benches and heavy bags. They were not the traditional heavy bags, but aqua bags that you can see here on the background.
Mhm.
What they were thinking was like, working out, everything is basically done. How can we make this workout new, and how can we create an experience that is going to set ourselves apart from all the other workouts that are currently on the market? So they started in 2017, and the brand became fairly big, fairly soon. But it was all kept in like only the major cities. So think about New York, it was all downtown, DC, LA, Chicago, and they created 12 of these uh, high end, high market fitness concept studios. In 2020, Exponential Fitness, which is the largest fitness franchisor in the world, they actually purchased Rumble, and
Mhm.
they scaled it down. They made the concept a little bit smaller. Instead of like 60 people in a room, we can fit 44. They took out some of the fancy bathrooms and showers, and the experience you get in those really really big cities. For us, put this product in a place like, for example, Westminster, where we are right now.
Mhm. So it's kind of nice that they've adapted it, adapted the model to the different communities that they're operating in, for sure. So the main focus of what you offer is boxing, or are there other types of programs that you have?
Yeah, so we actually don't just offer boxing. We're a 45-minute high intensity workout, and we combine strength training and boxing together. So um, it's a great question, because it will loop back into why are maybe some people still intimidated to come check us out, because they see that big sign boxing on our the front of the building. We are a boxing inspired workout, so we're not a fighting gym. We don't teach people here how to fight. There's no contact. People come in here for fitness, and we do non-traditional cardio. So where you would run normally on a treadmill, maybe on a rower, you're maybe on a bicycle, whatever it is that you do for traditional cardio. Um, Often a lot of people don't really care too much for that, and they want to do something different. So we are using boxing. So we teach you the six punches. We'll teach you some defense, and we're going to get your heart rate up high that way. And then we combine that with traditional strength training.
Mhm. I'm so glad that I asked that question, and it's one of those that sometimes in an effort to capture the main thing that someone specializes in, it loses sight of everything else that you bring. And I've run into that before when I've gone to different shops or recommended places when it's just branded by one thing. Everyone always thinks that that's what it is, and they refuse to step foot in there if that's not something that they can appreciate. So I'm glad that you offer those things and we're able to speak to that. We've got several others that have been joining us, like Jamie and Parker. And Parker just gave us a quick good morning message. For those of you that are starting to tune in, maybe have tuned in and fallen off or coming back to us, we've got Rumble Boxing with us as one of our newer partners. It's a part of the network Welcome, which is a program that we do every Wednesday to give you an idea of some of our local businesses that are here, so you can learn more about them, and through that understand what they have, so that you can be a resource for other people, or maybe even for yourself, to access some of the things that they are able to give you. So we briefly spoke to this when you talked about the myth that comes across by just seeing the name, or as soon as you see the name, it may stop you from coming into the studio. There are a lot of things that speak to that even further when you talk about strength-based training or when you talk about boxing. And so if you're okay with it, I would love to go ahead and move into talking about what some of those myths or the thoughts are that are out there about the industry, and maybe we can try and answer those for people if they're curious about experiencing the services that you offer, or maybe are hesitant to, that they can get a better idea. Does that sound fair?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's go.
Right. So the first one, and this is, I'm sorry that this is all in caps, especially as I'm like typing it in here, but the first one is that boxing is a violent sport. What do you think that originates from, and does it hold still validity until today?
Yeah, I mean, if you really only truly speak towards boxing, boxing is one of the oldest sports alive. It goes back as far as we can go back, and if you just simply look at that, yeah, there will be two boxers in a ring, and they will fight each other. So if you look at it from that perspective, it's somewhat violent because people will get hurt, and that is also, it's a very skilled sport.
Mm.
Now, Rumble Boxing is a boxing inspired workout. Um, so we are for the 100% versus the 1% that is really looking to get into boxing, and wants to know how to fight.
Mhm, mhm. Now, I think you spoke to this a little bit earlier in your cardio comments, but there is apparently a myth that's out there that talks about it just being another type of cardio workout. And if you're not doing boxing as a professional sport, that it would be pointless and you might as well just be doing another cardio workout. What can you say to that type of thought?
I mean, I would strongly disagree with that because, people like running. Some people don't like running. Some people like
Mm.
rowing. Other people don't like rowing. Some people like to do a little bit of boxing on the heavy bag without intentions, get into a ring without the intentions to get into a fight. People like to do what they like to do. Um, so that would be my best answer there.
Okay, this next one speaks to having a natural ability, an innate ability, or maybe not starting from the ground zero, that you have to be in good shape to even begin. Are you seeing more of those? Because you did speak to how it's highly skilled, right? Do people have to be in a specific place physically or have been athletic in some capacity to get started?
No, it's quite the opposite, actually. Like I mentioned earlier, we're for the 100%. We've got young people in here, we've got older people in here, and we will set you up with the six punches. We will teach you every single time you come back in. We all together start by running the six punches: the jab, the cross, the hook, the back hook, your front upper, and your back upper. You do not need to be skilled in this. You will get better as you do this. And then coming back to, the original statement of, like, we are boxing inspired. We are trying to get your heart rate up. Um, I would argue, like any new thing you would do, you won't start with being the best. You're going to have to learn, you're going to have to develop the skill. It's just like weightlifting. You're going to start with maybe 10 pounds, and after a while, you're going to 15, you're going to 20, wherever you want to take it.
Mhm. These next couple of questions may be a little bit redundant when I ask them for you, but they are two different audiences, so I would like to speak to them. The first is that strength training or boxing is a man's sport. Do you find that it's both the genders that are in your studio and utilizing that? Is there more of one or the next, or where does this originate from?
I would perhaps say that strength training is definitely not a man's sport. Boxing, perhaps back in the days, which was much more man dominated. I would say the true sport of boxing is most popular still under the men's categories. But here at Rumble Boxing, boutique fitness is used by, I would say, 90% women and 10% men. So you would see most women here.
Awesome. And then this next one that I said was going to be super similar, somewhat different, is that it talks to the fact that strength training is for young people only. Is there a demographic that's primarily the one walking through your door? If that's the case, I mean, that could be the case, but should there be a demographic, I guess, is a secondary follow up to that.
Yeah, it's a great question, and that is a hard no. There is no demographic. This is for anyone.
Mhm.
Um, and I love to talk about this because, for example, we have Susan, who is one of our founding members, and she
Mhm.
is leading the chart by most classes taken here by far, and she is one of our oldest members. She is in her high 60s.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Good
She's here
job
every
for
day. She's here every
it.
day.
That is commitment right there. That is
Yeah.
pretty cool. So for those people that think that cardio is primarily the way to have weight loss or to achieve your fitness goals, what can you speak to around that?
I think it's part of it. It's a tool. If you have very specific goals, of course, I want to lose X amount of weight, I want to tone up, or I want to gain muscle, or whatever you have in mind that you want to achieve for yourself. If you are very strict on it and you really want to achieve it, you're going to have to take the necessary actions to achieve those. Moving your body is one piece of the pie. I think there's always a little bit of diet involved as well, a little bit of mindset, some sleeping. So, there's so many factors in play there to reach that specific goal. Um, so, yes, I would say, and no.
Yeah, awesome. I like that it's not a one standard answer sometimes that people make that mistake and it isn't that easy to just label something as that. This last one I'll ask you in terms of myths, and then I have some more questions I want to ask you about your business and your location that's here. The type of workouts that you're doing, Susan, our 60 plus client of yours, is she bulky now, or is she more muscular? How do you, for people that think that there's an association between lifting and strength training and going to a maybe traditionally male dominant industry before, what can we say to them?
Yeah, no, it's quite the opposite actually. Boxing and the workout that we offer is mainly high intensity. Now, what I mean with that is, of course, you bring the intensity that you bring, right? So, someone uses a 5 pound dumbbell, for that other person, it needs to be a 20 pound dumbbell. But since it's cardio and we are working 10 rounds of 3 minutes, we're trying to keep you moving
Mhm.
without really stopping. Okay, without really stopping. And what we're really doing is we're building lean muscle here. So if you are looking to bulk, rumble boxing would definitely be not your place to go. Um, so it's an interesting question because it's the opposite. The opposite.
That's awesome. Your space finally opened here in Westminster. How long ago was that?
Yeah, we just celebrated our first year anniversary, which was on June
Okay.
20th. Yeah,
Congratulations on 1 year. And
thank you.
in that 1 year, how has the community kind of received your brand? Has that been something that people have inquired more about? What's something that you hope the public would know?
Gosh, I mean, it's been a really amazing journey so far, for multiple reasons. But we created a fantastic community actually here in Westminster in the studio. We're seeing friendships being made. We are seeing um, people bringing in their families. We're seeing people coming here for a bachelorette party. I mean, we've been welcomed extremely generous, I would say. So it's been just a joy.
And you're up there near the Orchard malls that's up in that space. For people that are curious, we've dropped in your address for them. We've also included your phone number. I would imagine that that's a great way to call on you and answer any questions that they might have. But your website, which I haven't gone to yet, and I need to, how is that already showing some of the more of these details that you were speaking to earlier, the types of workouts, maybe when they can access it, etc.
Mhm. Yeah, on our website, it will tell you literally what we have. It will speak about the schedule, who our coaches are, what that coach represents, what they like, what they don't like, what's the kind of flavor you get when you take my class, what's the kind of flavor when you take Lauren's class, what's the kind of flavor when you take Mary's class or Molly's class. Um, there's some pricing on there as well. We have a great introduction BOGO deal for people who are coming in for the first time. Um, we have 30 minutes express classes. We have the traditional 45-minute classes. We have 60-minute classes in the weekend, for the people who want to go a little bit more even.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, everything can be found on there.
And it sounds like you've got a pretty robust schedule. So does that mean it's not just an eight? Can they access it? I guess how late can someone make it to a class? And are you open the 7 days a week contingent on those classes?
Yeah, so we're open 7 days a week. We closed down one day of the year, which was Christmas. But
Okay.
yeah, we go Monday to Friday. We have a set schedule, and then we have Saturday and Sunday for a set schedule as well. We are not an open gym, so we are membership based class types. So we run anywhere from 4 to 6 classes a day, and people can book their class if it's early in the
Mhm.
morning, mid morning, earlier mid evening, um, all the way into the mornings of Saturday and the Sunday.
That's great. And then I do love the flexibility in the schedule and just having so many times that you're open. These are all
Mhm.
in-person sessions, right? Or is there an opportunity for a virtual for people?
Now, this is all in person. So, yeah, like I said, it's a 45, a 30, or a 60-minute class. If you show up, you put your stuff in the lockers, you hang out in the lobby, you meet maybe a new friend there. When it's
Mhm.
time to go, the coach will pull you in. We'll set the class up. We'll do a warm up. We'll all run through the 10 rounds, and then you're out 45 minutes later.
That's awesome. Short
Hmm.
commitment for great results. I've been asking you a bunch of questions. Some of them are pretty random and sporadic. Some were off of what you were sharing to us or things that I would feel that I would want to know. But was there anything in particular that you were hoping to get out there that you would like for people to know? And if so, now would be the time to do so. While you're thinking about that, if any of our viewers are hopped on with us and have questions or comments, you can provide those for us in the chat and we'll be able to pull them. You can also do it if we're no longer live, and we'll be able to bring that over to our guest.
Yeah, yeah. I think I have some awesome value to add on. Like, beginning it back to the beginning of this interview. Boxing is thousands of years old. Strength training is thousands of years old, and the benefits physically, mentally, are all pretty well known. You can Google them. You can come check us out. Come talk to me. Come talk to any of our staff about it, and they will talk to you about it. Um, what we have done at Rumble is the experience is something that makes this workout so amazing and so much fun for people to do, with a lot of experience, and for people who don't have any experience, if it is in fitness at all, or if it's with boxing, or if it's with strength training. So as you see in the background here, you see those red lights. Now, the house lights are currently also on, but when the workout starts, the house lights will actually go off. And
Okay.
the room actually will change almost into a nightclub feel. So the lights are going low. The red lights, they will change into all kinds of different colors. And what that does, it creates an atmosphere and a feeling where people actually are not standing in the light and maybe are feeling intimidated because, oh my God, I'm feeling watched because I don't know how to throw a jab, or I've never done this before and I'm feeling uncomfortable because he or she next to me is rocking it, right? So
Mhm.
we've taken that edge away, and people can just really let go and have fun. And if the combinations don't make sense, just hit the bag. Just have fun. You'll pick it up in the next round. To add on to that, the music here is something that you also don't really get in other workouts. So it's really the foreground. The music goes up loud. The music is specifically designed for the workouts. So we have beat drops, we go into speed punches, we go into power punches, and we're really taking you to a 10 round journey filled with peaks and with valleys.
Mhm. I love
And
the I love that you're sharing, here are the environmental things that factor into your experience, because that is so true. Anytime that you're choosing to go out of your comfort zone, it's already hard to get yourself out of what you're doing on a daily basis and to get better and be well. And so when you start looking at something that's different or something that you don't even know much about, even if it's a gym for that matter, right? I'm always curious, like what types of people are there, what type of space is it? Is there a lot of music? Is it quieter? And that plays a direct role in your experience and whether or not you choose to come back. But I think one of the lines that stood out to me out of everything that you've just summarized was, if you don't get it while we're doing it, you just kind of hit it and keep going with it. You'll pick it back up at some other point, and just in knowing that everyone's at a different pace.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not about getting it always right. It's about having a good time in moving your body and with the intention of doing something that's good for you. And if that is the combination of the day, a jab, cross, a hook, and a hook, and because of whatever reason it doesn't click that day, then 10 uppercuts and 10 1-2s are going to do the same thing, and the next round you're just going to pick it right back up. So yeah, that's what we stand for, and I think that's what you got to come check us out for and see what's up.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so grateful that you have chosen Westminster as your home. We're excited to be a part of your growth as you continue on that trajectory. And for those of you that have tuned in with us now or later, I want to thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit more about one of our local businesses. And I encourage you to step out of your everyday routine and maybe try something different, whether you already have a routine that's around health and wellness. And if you don't, maybe now's the time to go ahead and embrace that. Their address, phone number, and website is included in the chat section for you to be able to find and access them later on. And I do want to thank you again for being on here, Sivu. I appreciate learning more about you and your role, your background, and everything that you've been doing in such a short time with us here in the community. So thank you once again for being on here with me.
Thank you so much, Julia. It was awesome.